I'm being joined now on the news at 10 by the former Minister of State and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Aminu Wale. He is in our Abuja studio. Ambassador, it's great to have you on the news at 10.
Thank you for having me.
Ambassador, when you see these attacks when you see pictures of these attacks on TV or on the internet or wherever you're watching the attacks take place in South Africa, what usually runs through your mind when you see these pictures? What are you thinking?
Well, it gives an impression that a lot of things are wrong in South Africa. This is not the first time this has happened. It happened about almost 2 years ago, as of today, while I was in office. And I knew exactly what transpired in South Africa. And unfortunately, we were just about leaving. So we are not able to take concrete actions to make sure that we reach an understanding with South Africa. Now, unfortunately, this has been recurring. And the problem is definitely with the authorities in South Africa. But the unfortunate thing is the allegation that the police are not, are colluding. If that is true, is unfortunate, because no responsible government will sit down and see anarchy perpetrated in its own territory, and particularly as affects other nationals that are residing legally in those countries. The reaction of the Nigerian authorities, particularly the Minister of Foreign Affairs, was done based on the normal diplomatic norms. What I will suggest under the current circumstances, in spite of all that was done to address the issue, the government should now send a high-powered delegation to South Africa to meet with the highest authority in South Africa, particularly the president, so that they put in place, in front of the president of South Africa, the feelings of the Nigerian government and the people. And we cannot afford to continue to have attacks on our nationals. That will create a situation where the best of allies are now going to be face-to-face fighting each other. And in diplomatic parlance, this is something which is very, very serious. Because to build a relationship like we have had with South Africa, it takes a lot of doing. And therefore, we should be very careful in terms of maintaining our relationship with South Africa, at the same time creating an atmosphere in South Africa together with South African authorities to protect the interests, the properties and livelihood of our people, of our Nigerian compatriots who are in South Africa. So I think what the South African authorities are doing, they should have done it a long time ago. I think it's a little bit late, but then better late than never. And I hope this continues the education that is being imparted on the normal South Africans to now understand that it's a two-way traffic. Diplomacy is reciprocity. But of course, when it comes to violence, we don't want that reciprocity to happen. What we want is to build a united Africa. We are all members of the AU. And the African Charter on Human and People's Rights.
Ambassador,
we're all signatories to that charter. We're all parties to that charter.
Ambassador Wale, I don't want you to answer all of my questions, in one at once. But let's talk about the root cause of these xenophobic attacks, these feelings of xenophobia. When the attacks occurred in 2015, I remember that in 2008, beg your pardon, and in 2005, the South African government was supposed to have put in place some recommendations which were supposed to have stalled and prevented attacks like this from happening again. Do you think the government really is attacking the real reason why these attacks are taking place?
Well, we see every country's own type of problems that they face. South Africa definitely has problems in terms of massive unemployment and, of course, the threatening recession that is facing South Africa. And therefore, there's a lot of problems economically and socially. And therefore, they are facing that situation where there's a lot of unemployment. And the promises that were made pre-apartheid, before apartheid is over are yet to be fulfilled by the people. There are high hopes of good life in South Africa for the people of South Africa. And of course, that's basically what also attracts a lot of our nationals to go to South Africa, because the promises were good. But unfortunately, this has not happened. Therefore, there is a lot of problems which are social, economic, that are facing the current administration in South Africa. And I believe no responsible government, like I said earlier, would sit down and not do anything about that. Now, I think if you follow the developments in South Africa within the last 2-3 years, you see that things are not really going the way they ought to be going. For a country that has a solid base in terms of infrastructure for development, but unfortunately things have not been going well, and therefore what we are fighting in Nigeria also is what is also happening in South Africa, because we can see the problem of corruption that is also endemic in the South Africa system. So I believe what we should do as Nigeria, we have to try and maintain a good relation so that we can be able to protect our own nationals. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier, the solution to it is that we, as Nigeria here, the government of this country, should certainly send a high-part delegation, sit down so that at least we can try to see the end of xenophobic attacks on our nationals, because all diplomacy is local. We have to try and protect our people wherever they may be worldwide.
And
that's basically what diplomacy is all about. I believe South Africa...
That's where we have to leave it, Ambassador Wale. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10. A pleasure it has been speaking with you, former Minister of State at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Aminu Wale.